Smackdowns at home tonight.
Nice. What is up, everybody? It's the commissioner here, aka the mailman, Jimmy Melstead. This is a special episode 19 of the Storksdesk. This is our fantasy hockey league show, and I'm also doing my episode 10 of the Small Package podcast, and we are talking all things NHL trade deadline and how it impacts the fantasy hockey league that we're in, the league fantasy hockey on Yahoo Sports. Today was the big day of NHL trade deadline action. I was at work, so I didn't really get to catch everything live. I was talking to Mark Wood throughout the day. First of all, let's introduce my buddy, my deputy, on the regular versions of our YouTube show, the Stork. Kevin Stork is joining us. What is up, Kevin?
How's it going, boys? Glad to be here. Go ahead, man.
Okay. Sorry, still used to this Skype crap. And then this is the first time we've ever had a guest on our show, Stork, as far as the Storksdesk side. Here, it took 19 episodes. We got one of our league members, longtime Washington Capitals fan. He's the manager of the Woody Woodpeckers. Mark Wood, Aaron, good old Bell out in Maryland. How's it going, Mark? And welcome to the show.
Everything's good. I'm pretty disappointed about what went on today, but guess I'll get over it.
Yeah, Stork, I guess my immediate reaction is Christmas came really early, and then when Christmas finally arrived, it wasn't as cool as all the presents that we opened already. I guess it was more like, I'm not Jewish, but is that what Hanukkah's like? Opening one present a day, or there's multiple presents throughout the whole past couple of weeks, and then comes the big day, and there's some cool stuff here and there, but the official NHL trade deadline in the books, and there was a lot of activity, don't get me wrong, but nothing like huge today. Or am I wrong? Did you guys think, or Mr. Stork, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we talked about this the other day, that there may not be any more, may or may not be any more huge splashes, but in the event of what happened for the last couple of weeks and all the big deals that have been made, I had a feeling that it could be a little quieter today. A few minor league deals and a couple of depth moves, but yeah, everybody's dialed in now, and the cream will come to the top, I guess.
So I got the dailyfaceoff.com. That's one of my favorite sites. Frank Saravalli and those guys do a great job. They have a terrific trade tracker here. I wasn't going to list every trade, but I mean, we've already talked about some of these on particular shows, but going back to the Bo Horvat deal, that was January 30th. It seemed like it was kind of nonstop every few days since that one, I believe, around January 30th. It just seems like trades were coming in left and right. I think one of the bigger ones after the Horvat one, I don't think we ever talked about this one too much on Storksdesk or my podcast, which is pretty new, the Small Package. The Rangers look pretty dang good, and they picked up Vladimir Tarasenko from the Blues and that big Finnish guy, Nico Mikkola, a left-handed defenseman. And they traded Sammy Blais back to the Blues. He was a Stanley Cup champ with those guys in 2019. A guy named Hunter Skinner, a conditional 2023 first-round pick. That's a big one. And a conditional 2024 fourth-round pick. And St. Louis retains 50% of Tarasenko's cap hit there. What do you guys think of that deal? I don't think I ever got your opinion. And are the Rangers the team to beat, or do you got somebody else right now? I know Leafs Nation is listening to Stork. That's his team. Stork, I never got your opinion on the Tarasenko deal.
Wow, I mean, you could that was coming. You could see it coming from a mile away. We knew the Rangers were going to go after him. I mean, the Rangers really dialed in themselves for the playoff run, but they still have some holes in there. And I think defensively, I mean, offensively, obviously, I mean, when you look at their big five, I mean, that's quite a power play unit. But are they, besides Kane, we know he's defensively minded too. But they got a lot of offense and not a whole lot of defense. And when the playoffs hit, it's all about defensive hockey, and that might be an Achilles heel for the Rangers.
Mark, what did you think of Tarasenko going to the blue shirts? Trying to think who has him in our fantasy league. Is that Dave?
Let me take a
I'll,
look.
I'll let Mark talk, and then I'll find out who has him in our league for fantasy.
I mean,
impact.
the Tarasenko trade made it possible for a low price on the Patrick Kane deal, because it's kind of like he only wanted to go to one place and one place only, and the Rangers could sit there and say, "Hey, look, this is what we want, or this is what we'll give you, and that's it." So I mean, the Blackhawks got squeezed out on that deal, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we talked about that the other day, Jimmy, about the position the Hawks were in. I mean, Kane wanted out. I mean, it's quite obvious. He wanted out, but he only wanted to go to New York. And that put all the marbles in New York's hands. So they were pretty well, had them by the knickers on this one.
I mean, but the most annoying thing was the way that Arizona ended up eating part of contracts and making it possible for like a super team type of thing. And I think that that needs to be addressed in the next CBA, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me and you were talking about that, Mark. Next CBA is what, 2026, you said?
6, yeah.
So
yep.
I bet you that'll be definitely addressed. But yeah, I'm just a fan. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff as far as being in that kind of bargaining. I just hope we don't have another lockout or
no.
I think the game's the best it's been. It's just, yeah, I agree with Mark. There's some shady stuff here and there going on.
So I mean, in all honesty, the Leafs did that also with the O'Reilly deal. I mean, they had Minnesota in there paying part of his salary. So yeah, I don't know if I like it or not. It's I don't know if it's shady, but it's a little kind of cheating the salary cap in my eyes.
Yeah, it's circumvention. I mean, they're just going right around what the letter of the law is. So it's wasn't written that way where it couldn't happen. But I don't appreciate it, to be honest with you. For one, what's it like to be a fan of the Arizona, the Arizona Coyotes? I mean, it doesn't do anything but make their fans hate them. I mean, I know they're playing in a little teeny minor league stadium anyway, but I mean, I don't see how that's a positive growth situation for the league.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, I don't have a problem with teams retaining salary. It just seems like the Coyotes take on like everybody's that team.
Well,
I don't know.
What happens is there was always a three-way deal, and they were the ones that were getting draft picks for holding on to 50%, or like in our case, they got the Dmitry Orlov deal. We held 50% of it. They got 25%, and Boston's only on the shelf for 25% of Orlov's deal because they got into it.
Yeah. it's part of the game I'm not really an expert on, but like, yeah, we'll see how it is down the road here. But that trade of the Tarasenko was February 9th. What do you guys grade that deal? I guess I don't know how we're gonna have this show. I'm not gonna talk about every trade. I'm just bringing the big ones to front, and we never talked about that. What I guess, how do you grade the Blues? A team that was a champion in 2019 here, and it looks like they're definitely big time sellers, getting rid of O'Reilly, Tarasenko, and a couple others. How do you think the Blues did there?
I mean, they got some picks, right? But all good things come to an end, and St. Louis, as you know, they're not a big hockey market. And when you have a good team, they were stacked there for quite a while, but it got to a point where they just they needed to tear it down and start over again because of contracts and the way salaries are going up, but the salary cap isn't. So they were left in a crunch. They don't want to lose star players for absolutely nothing. So the only option is to trade them and get some picks and prospects in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can read off what they have. They have the Voracek, 8.25 of the Voracek deal. They have Shea Weber for the next 4 seasons at 7.57. They have Brian Little for the next 2 seasons at
Brian
5.
Little.
Yes.
Holy
yeah, they're still
crap.
paying him.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
They have Andrew Ladd for 5.5 this year. Patrick Kane. See, they did that 3-way deal where they got picks for holding on to some of his contract. He's on the hook with them for 2.625. And then you have Ekman Larson for 5 seasons at 990,000. And then you got Bjorkstrand, that one that went to Edmonton. They're on the hook for $4,500 of that deal. And like I say, it's ridiculous. I mean, they have a list as long as most defensemen would be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, almost an entire defense of, with the space that they're eating up. They have $11.6 million of of cap space. But the problem with the way the NHL does it, they have to get to a certain floor. And that used to be the reason why they would take on salary. But this year is nothing but straight circumvention. They're taking picks for, people that have no business being anywhere near their roster right now.
Yeah, they got 27 or something? 27 top 3 first 3 rounds picks here in the next couple years or so. I mean, they're going to be loaded there in the picks.
When they come up to when they come up to draft, you got to draft them all at one time. They can't wait.
So, moving on to mid-February, I thought this was a pretty big deal to talk about. I don't think we ever talked about this one. This one's all about you, Stork. Your Leafs get Ryan O'Reilly from the Blues, Nola Chari as well, 2 centers, and a right winger, Josh Pillar. Minnesota was involved in this. They got a 2025 4th-round pick. But going back to the Blues was Mikhail Abramoff, Adam Gaudette. God, I forgot he was in the league. A 2023 1st-round pick, a 2024 2nd-rounder, a 2023 3rd-round pick. So St. Louis retained 50% of O'Reilly's cap hit, and Minnesota retained 25% of O'Reilly's cap hit. How are you liking this deal, Stork? Being a Leafs fan, are you loving the returns of Ryan O'Reilly right now?
Oh yeah, but him and a Carey. I mean, these guys are playoff hockey players. They got grit and sandpaper, and that's exactly what the Leafs needed, which is why we've seen so many first round exits over the last few seasons. They just didn't have the grit, the heart, and the sandpaper to get past the first round. But I don't think we're going to see that this year. I think the Leafs have finally did what they should have done the last couple of years. I don't think, I mean, they made some moves last year and the year before, but nothing like they've done this year. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm all pumped up. I can't wait for the playoffs to start.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Before the trade, I picked up O'Reilly on the fantasy team. He was sitting there. I'm not sure who had him. I think Julio had him at one point, but he's helped me in faceoffs. He'll be a key faceoff guy for you guys in the playoffs. Leafs Nation, they're gonna need it because they're on a collision course with Tampa again, I would assume, and
yeah,
you got to always get past those Boston Bruins. We'll see how it goes, but I like the pickups. Nola Chari, he went to the Cup Finals with the Blues. Or no, he was with the Bruins versus the Blues.
He was with the Bruins when they beat the Leafs.
Yeah. He's a big time banger, so it'll be interesting to see. I like what the Leafs did there. Mark, did you have any comments on that trade?
No, not that one specifically.
Yeah. What we got? I think this was kind of a real minor deal, but he's proven to be a factor. Back to the Rangers. Tyler Mott went back from the Senators back to the Rangers, and all they did was they got rid of Julian Gauthier, who's a right winger and a conditional 2023 7th round pick. So Mott's that sandpaper in New York. You're wondering, you got all these superstars like Pat Kane and Tarasenko. Who's going to take the spot, of the sandpaper, because they got rid of Ryan Reeves early in the year to the Wild. I like Tyler Mott's game a lot. I think that was a low-key, big-time trade. Do you guys have any comments?
Well, I mean, Mott is more defensive-minded, and he comes with a little bit of experience. But see, like I said about the Rangers, they lack that grit and toughness and defensive abilities. And I think as much as the Rangers can score goals, I think defense is going to hurt them in the playoffs. I think they're going to struggle to. I mean, they'll probably do all right for the first round, but the Rangers are going to be in trouble when it comes right into the heart and soul of the playoffs. Like those last 3 games of a series are going to be tough, and teams are going to go for them. I mean, they're going to go and they're going to hit. They're going to finish their checks and they're going to beat them down. That's my feelings anyway.
Now they're currently sitting $2.6 million over the cap, and I think that TJ Oshie did them a favor because they can put Lindgren on long-term injury, and he's $3 million of it, so they would get back underneath of it with him. But I mean, they're dressing 11 forwards and 7 defensemen because they can't stay under the minimum. The way the salary's set up, they have to cut players, scratch players in order to stay under the number.
Yeah, in case anybody missed it, the Rangers Caps game a week ago, Saturday, Oshie had got Ryan Lindgren in a vulnerable. Well, I mean, Lindgren wasn't prepared for the hit. Oshie, I don't even think he got a penalty, but Lindgren ended up hurting his shoulder. I guess I guess he hasn't been back, obviously. And that'll be interesting to follow there. The Rangers have some good defensemen. They would really need him for a deep run. Here's a big deal. Me and Mark talked about on my podcast, but we never really talked about it on Storksdesk. This involved our team, Mark, the Caps. This is one of the bigger trades I think that we've seen this deadline. Our guys, Dmitry Orlov, who's looking like Bobby Orr right now for the Bruins, and Garnet Hathaway, just a real bruising right wing, goes to the Bruins. Minnesota was involved in this one again. A 2023 5th round pick goes to them. The Bruins give up Craig Smith, the right winger. Andrei Svetlikov, I believe he went to the Wild, I think, right? Or no, he went to the Bruins. And the Capitals got a 2023 first-round pick, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 2024 third-round pick from the Bruins. As, like Mark stated, the Caps retained 50% of Orlov's cap hit, $2.55 million, and Minnesota retained 25% of Orlov's cap hit. So it was Minnesota, not Arizona. That's 1.275. I think this was one of the biggest deals at the deadline, in my opinion. These guys, as soon as they got to the lineup, Orlov's been unbelievable, and Hathaway's providing just great stuff that you're going to need in the playoffs. I really like what the Boston Bruins did here, guys. Stork, you told me right when this happened. Why? As a Leafs fan.
Man. I mean, this team was already on the move, and of course, the number one team in the NHL. And to get Orlov and Hathaway, now there's, Orlov is a good hockey player, as you guys know, and Hathaway is the grit and the sandpaper and the toughness. And the Bruins weren't already the best; they are now, and they are certainly the team to beat this year for sure.
Mark, as Caps fans, I mean, we knew the writing on the wall as far as Orlov. Hate to see him go, man, but they just couldn't get to an agreement, man. And I know your feelings on GMBM. I don't think I ever got your opinion on Hathaway.
I mean, he's a lot like was it Matt? What was Matt's last name that played for the Caps for a little while?
Matt Hendricks.
When it was
Paralyzer.
Matt.
Yeah.
Hendricks. Yep. I mean, those guys kind of come and go. I didn't dislike him, but the part of the trade that irritates me, and you know this, is that we got a first round pick and then turned around and threw it away. I mean, they traded it to Kevin's team, but I don't know what. I have no idea what he was thinking when he made that deal. I mean, I know I haven't seen the kid play. Talking about was it Sandin? Yeah,
Rasmus.
I've never seen him play. I don't know anything about it, but I mean, you gave up Gustafson and a first round pick for him. To me, I to get a first round pick for those two is something, but then to turn around and just flip it like it didn't matter. The NHL Network was talking about today on the radio that people were slinging first round draft picks. I was like, man, it sounds like me talking. Teams are just giving them away, like it's candy. For what you used to have to pay for a first round pick back in the day. Second round picks were the commodity. Everybody wanted to do the second round pick, not give up a first. But I mean, in today's NHL, if you do not have a farm team that has guys that are on entry level contracts, meaning anybody that has below $1 million in contract, if you don't have a stock of them down in the minors, you're gonna be the Rangers all day, playing 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. That's how championships are won. Because we had a bunch of guys that were on entry level deals when we won the cup.
Yeah.
So,
the juice.
Andre Burakovsky was one of them. Most of the guys. Most of the guys that are not here, were not there the year afterwards, were the guys that were like on the last year of their entry level deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand it with Ovi being the way Ovi is. He wants to, he wants to win. He doesn't want to, rebuild or whatever. But at the same time, if you look at Brian McClellan's track record when it comes to drafting, I mean, there's not much to show on the team. I mean, the only one that really stands out right now is that is the defenseman. Now you're making me think and talk.
Alexiev?
No, not him. Faravari.
Oh yeah, Martin Faravari.
That's all he really has to show for on the team because everything else is a
good.
free agent.
Yeah, and hopefully 42 is back in the lineup ASAP because we just called up some defensemen up from the farm system in Hershey. So Stork, he's still busy post trade deadline. On our last Stork's desk, he was answering the phones more than Kyle Dubas for the Leafs. No, don't worry, Stork. I know there's real life going out there. But
the wife was calling. She wanted to know if I wanted pizza. So apparently we're having pizza tonight. So
yeah, right here on the Small Package Podcast, baby. So yeah, the Caps get Rasmus Sandin. He's a young defenseman. This was a deal made earlier in the week. Eric Gustafson goes to the Leafs, a left-handed defenseman. Sandin's also a left-handed defenseman, and we turned around that Boston first-round pick back to the Leafs. So basically, Rasmus Sandin is our late first-round pick. He has yet to make his debut for the Capitals. But I hear good things. He looks a little small, but he's kind of I would say he likes to do the counter hitting.
yes.
Gustafson filled in real well for an injured John Carlson. He actually can quarterback the power play a little bit. He played already for the Leafs the other day. Stork, how'd you think he fit in?
I mean, he had a minor role playing last night, but he played well. He was steady. He looked a little lost, but that's expected when you're going to a new team and you're meeting new people. He did know a couple of the Leafs. He knew he was, buddies with Nylander, so being on the Swedish side of things. But he's another one of those depth guys for the playoffs. He's not going to play every game. He's going to sit every other game probably. But good on the power play. He has some defensive skills, but he's mostly brought in to just give some guys a rest because we're playing with 9 defensemen right now, and that's probably what we're going to be going into the playoffs with is 9 defensemen because you just never know when somebody's going to get hurt. So that's when he's going to see his time. Now, I'm going to tell you, I mean, you and I talked about this the other day, Jimmy, but Mark being a Caps fan, if you don't know a whole bunch about Sandin, like I told Jimmy, you're going to like this kid. He's 22 years old. He's got a lot of talent. It was just a numbers game in Toronto, especially with the 2 defensemen the Leafs picked up for the playoff run. He's not physically minded, but he does lay the hits. But you're going to like this guy when he gets solid playing time. And I think you'll start seeing this for the next few games when he debuts for the Caps. But heading into next season, a new start for him. I think you guys are going to like this kid.
Yeah, he should be starting Saturday versus the San Jose Sharks, from what I understand. He was getting his visa or his work papers straightened out. So we'll see how it goes.
I mean, not a lot of people know this, probably because it wasn't really aired as quite as much. But Ovechkin, he was not happy that Orlov left, because that was his boy.
Yeah. Interesting times in DC. Another big trade. I'm going to go over the big trades, guys. I don't want to keep you too long. I thought this was a big one here. Timo Meier from the Sharks goes to the New Jersey Devils. They look like a good contender. This was a big trade. Not today during the deadline. I thought this was a main event deal here. Devils end up getting Timo Meier, who can play left wing and right wing. Scott Harrington, a left-handed D. I can't even say this kid's name. Santeri Hatakka. He's a left-handed D. Zach Edmond, Timo Ibragimov. I don't even know. These are all guys that are going to the AHL, I would assume. And a 2024 fifth-round pick in exchange for a first-round pick this year, a 2024 second-round pick. This guy was drafted a couple years ago, right? Shakir Makmudulin. I hear good things about him. I can't say his name right. Big-time left-handed defenseman. I remember when he got drafted, they were stoked about that guy. Poor Fabian Zetterlund. He played a lot of good hockey this year for the Devils. I remember him scoring on the Caps. Some other player named Nikita there's some big-time names in here. And then former Leaf Andreas Johansson was in there and a 7th-round pick in 2024. I guess what I'm saying is this a good fit for Timo Meier? I'll start with Stork.
Oh, he's going to like playing with Hughes and Jesper Bratt, that's for sure. He's going to like it in New Jersey for sure. That's another guy with tremendous talent who would have been wasting away in San Jose because they're doing a complete tear down in San Jose. And he's going to like playing for New Jersey. They're going to try to, of course, nail him down because he is a UFA. But they might end up, they've got the cap room in New Jersey to keep this kid. And, what a fit for him playing with Hughes and Bratt, that's for sure. New Jersey's got a good young team.
Yeah, he's on Josh's fantasy team in our league. And Josh needs to get it going as far as his own fantasy playoff. But Timo Meier has been just consistent. He's a little banged up right now. He hasn't even debuted yet. They're on the they play Vegas tonight, right? Or
yeah, he's definitely out tonight.
Yeah, he's not playing yet.
Not playing tonight.
I think they were rumored to be he's practicing, but I think they were going to wait till they got back to the East Coast, from what I heard. Mark, what do you think of Timo Meier?
I mean, Mike Greer, our boy, ex-Capital, is in a tough spot on a rebuild, and you got to, he's 26 years old, so, he's could have been part of it, but,
yeah,
the patience and, yep, and, the patience and waiting for it sounds a lot like Brendan Witt when we tanked out in 2003 to get those to get the Ovechkin pick. Yeah, he didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, former Seattle Thunderbird Brendan Witt. I think he lives out here somewhere.
San Jose wasn't going to keep Meier anyway, so they knew he was going to walk, and you got to get something for a guy that is going to walk. San Jose did what they had to do. And, nobody's really talking about New Jersey. They're going to be a team to watch for in the playoffs, too, because they're a hell of a good team.
Yeah, they got the two former former Capital, Vitek Vanacek, and I guess Mackenzie Blackwood as well. Vitek's had a pretty good season. So I thought for the most part, except for this trade, I thought Tampa Bay was kind of more quieter than normal, but this was a big deal, guys. I want to get your thoughts on it. Tanner Jeannot from the Nashville Predators goes to Tampa Bay, a left winger. He had a better year last year. He's not having a good rookie season. He had 24 goals, I believe, in his rookie year. Not as much success this year, but he's a big bruiser. He can fight. They also got a 2025 first round. Oh, no, wait. Going back to Nashville, excuse me. Cal Foote, Adam Foote's son. I saw him play out here with the Kelowna Rockets. Big right-handed defenseman. I like him. In Nashville, David Poyle handing the reins here at the end of the year to Barry Trotz as the GM. They got a big return for Tanner Jeannot. This was amazing. A 2025 first rounder, a 2024 second rounder, a 2023 third rounder, a 2023 fourth rounder, and a 2023 fifth rounder. I think in 2023, Tampa Bay and their scouting staff can take a break, I guess. What did you think of this deal there? I'll start with Mark.
I know one thing, they paid a hefty price to get him there. You know, I hope he, pans out the way they want him to. But like I say, Tampa Bay is another one that's really pushed up against the cap. So, I mean, getting rid of Foot, I mean, I don't know. I can't remember if he's still on his entry level deal, but, that was a shocker to me.
I think he was, but I don't know for sure.
I believe he was too, yeah.
Because I just saw him play a couple years ago. He can't be that. What was it, 2 years ago?
I think he's only 23 or 22 or something like that.
But, I mean, Tanner Jeannot is definitely going to help out the Lightning, who I played a lot of hockey here. And I would assume, is this his first play? No, he was in the playoffs last year. They got swept by the Colorado Avalanche to Nashville. But I like the way Nashville's going. They identified that, things aren't going too well. And, man, they have gotten a ton of picks. That wasn't the only deal they made. So that could be your first round. That is your first round opponent, Stork. Are you ready for some Tanner Jeannot?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Tampa Bay, as Mark said, they paid a price to get Jeannot, but Jeannot he's a tough, gritty kind of hockey player who already proved that he can score some goals, and he could be a big factor in the playoffs. But I know for a fact that Tampa Bay picked up this guy for a run against the Leafs, and he did. So the Leafs countered, and that's going to be one rough, tough, ugly hockey series when Tampa Bay and Toronto, because they both know that that's their opponents. It's going to be rough and tough, that's for sure. It's going to be there's going to be lots of snot flying in that series.
Yeah. So back to your Leafs story. Jake McCabe comes from Chicago, left-handed defenseman. Sam Lafferty from Chicago. This guy's great on shorties. I think he leads the league in shorties, right?
Yeah.
Or at least he's great at penalty killing. That's needed a ton in the playoffs. So he's a good center that the Leafs acquired from the Blackhawks. They also got a 2024 fifth rounder, a 2025 fifth round pick. Chicago's retaining 50% of that McCabe contract. Going back to the Blackhawks was a 2025 first rounder, 2026 second round pick. Joey Anderson, who I'm not familiar with, and Pavel Gogolev, a left winger.
Yes.
What do you think of those two guys they got? I mean, it's clear that the Leafs are all in.
I was thrilled about that one too. McCabe is all defense and one of those guys that are going to clear the front of the net. Lafferty is tenacious on the check, and what a great third, fourth line addition he's going to be, especially on the power play, as you said. The Leafs are just filling holes where they need to fill them, and hats off to Kyle Dubas for going out and giving the Leafs all the pieces that they need to make a long playoff run. So if the Leafs fail again, it won't be on Dubas because he did his job.
Yeah, he put his chips in. Mark, you had any comments on that deal?
I don't know, man. All I know is from watching the Caps over the years, you get in that first round and they beat you down and you don't have nothing left for the second, third, and fourth rounds, Good luck.
That's what they did. That's where they've been going wrong is they've been Tampa Bay, they went 7 games last year, but Tampa Bay eventually beat the Leafs down, and the Leafs didn't have enough grit and determination to get over the hump. So this year they have, and I think I'm going to say it right now. I think the Leafs are going to beat Tampa Bay and beat them quickly. And I don't usually say that just because I'm a Leaf fan. I'm usually pretty honest about my Leafs, but I like how they match up against Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. A team we haven't talked too much about Carolina Hurricanes, they kind of were quiet here. They didn't want to upset the apple cart. They did make a move, though. They ended up picking up Jesse Puljujarvi, a troubled right winger there. He's nicknamed the Bison, right? Or something like that. The Bison. He's got a
Pretty
huge
short
head.
of a bison, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know
hope
that
they
he's
found
wanted. He's wanted out of Edmonton for the longest time, too.
Yeah. I hope they found a helmet that fit his head. I know Frank Zaravalli said that on his show, so I kind of stole that. But yeah, Jesse Puljujarvi was pretty much the only major addition for the Carolina Hurricanes, a heavy Stanley Cup favorite. That's Denise, my wife's Stanley Cup pick. And in return, Edmonton got a kid that I never heard of, Patrick Puistila. He's also a left wing and a right wing. So your thoughts on the Carolina Hurricanes kind of being quiet? I know their owner has been known to be kind of a frugal guy with the cash. I thought maybe they could have been in on a Timo Meyer or something. Stork?
Well, they're that's another team that's kind of up with the cap now, and they've made. I mean, you got to remember they've made some deals. Late this year or late last year in December, I believe, where they picked up. They got everybody they really need. So I wasn't surprised that they were quiet this trade deadline because they pretty well got all the pieces they need. So I mean, yeah, that's another team that nobody's talking about right now because they didn't make a big splash over the last couple of weeks. But Carolina is a good, solid hockey team, like a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference now. I mean, remember the days when the Western Conference had all the studs and all the great players wanted to play in the West. It was a much better division or conference than it was. Not anymore. The East is the beast now.
Yeah, Mark, do you think Carolina has enough goaltending? You have Freddie Anderson on your fantasy team, right?
He stays healthy. I mean, they have a kid goalie that I like, but I can't really pronounce his name. I guess he's a Russian kid.
Petrikov or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he could step in if need be.
They still got Antti Ranta, who did a pretty good job last postseason when Freddie was hurt. Stork knows everything about Freddie Anderson. Yeah, Freddie could just stay healthy, but I guess so far so good. We'll see what Carolina has in the playoffs. Trying to skip over some of these minor deals here. Oh, here's another one for Stork. Luke Shen goes from the Canucks back to the Leafs.
That's
2023
huge.
third rounder. That's a huge one.
Huge. If not getting McCabe was good enough for me. I mean, we've heard the rumors about Shen going back to Toronto, and when that happened, I lit up because this guy is he's called the human eraser for a reason. He erases people and he finishes checks. He's become a real tough hockey player, and when the Leafs drafted him way back in 2012, all the expectations were on this kid because he was such a high prospect that he was going to turn the Leafs' fortunes around. But unfortunately, back then the Leafs were the beginning of the laughing stock of the league, and there was too much pressure on Shen. But he's coming back to a team that all of a sudden is top contenders, and he's thrilled to come back to Toronto and wear his old number 2. So yeah, I'm really excited about Luke Shen coming back to Toronto.
Mark, any thoughts on Luke Shen? He was with the Tampa Bay Lightning a couple years ago, right? When they won a cup.
2 cups.
2 cup, yeah.
He was with Tampa Bay for 2 cups.
He was an integral part.
Yeah,
that's good. I think that does the Leafs real well.
Oh yeah.
Opinion. What do you think of the player there, Mark?
I mean, he was a Flyer at one time too, an LA King. That's all I remember of him.
Yeah. think Scotty Lanham has him in our fantasy. He's just a big time hitter. He'll collect your hits in fantasy, that's for sure. And you're gonna need him in the playoffs, Stork. So I know you're happy about that.
Oh yeah.
We haven't talked about the Edmonton Oilers too much, except for giving away Puljujarvi. They picked up Matthias Ekholm. This guy's been rumored to be traded for a few years now from the Preds. Preds, again, make a huge deal here. I like this trade again for the Predators, but also the Oilers. Ekholm, a very needed left-handed defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers. They also get a 2024 sixth-round pick. Nashville retains 4% of Ekholm's contract. In return, going to Nashville, Tyson Barrie leaves. He's good on the power play, a right-handed D. A kid I'm familiar with, he was the 32nd overall pick in last year's draft. Reed Schaefer, Seattle Thunderbirds. He's going to be a good player. And then Predators pick up yeah. He's on Stork's Fantrax Dynasty team.
Build him up for me, Jimmy, so I can get everything I can off you.
I'm trying to acquire him, by the way. Predators get just a great pick here, a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 fourth-round pick for Matthias Ekholm. Do you think this will help put the Oilers over the top? Whatever happened to Oscar Klefbom? He was a huge defenseman. He had a hell of a shot. Whatever happened to that guy?
I think he's back in Europe now, I believe.
Oh, is he?
Playing in the KHL or something.
I always wonder. I thought he was a pretty good defenseman, but apparently he's done, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
But you think this defenseman will help the Edmonton Oilers?
He'll help them somewhat, but I mean, they traded a guy that, he had some upside in Tyson Barrie. He was putting points up for them, but he's not tough. And Ekholm's a little bigger, a bit more of a front net presence. He's got, obviously, he's got some offensive skills. Help him on the power play, which they'll be missing when Barry's gone. But, I think they got a little bit better, but did they get a lot better with that trade? No, I don't think so.
What do you think, Mark? Are the Oilers the most an overrated team, or is this offense going to be enough for them to get McDavid a first cup?
They're a lot like the Caps were back in the early days of the late 2000s and 2010 to 2014, 15, right around there. They don't have. I don't think they have in any way a chance to run the table with what they have. Their goaltending, I think, is probably what's going to keep them down. But like I say, I think they're the young Caps, that just are going to need a veteran or two to lift them up. But I think they're still a ways away.
Yeah, I worry about their defense too. Edmonton, they're all offensive minded, and if you take away McJesus and Draisaitl, there's not a whole lot there. They've got Hyman, but they got Hyman. Of course, Kane's hurt right now.
Nugent Hopkins is having a decent year.
After that, not a whole lot. They got Hopkins. He's on an upswing this year, only because he's playing with Draisaitl and McDavid. He's a good hockey player, but the Oilers just don't have third and fourth line presence on their team. And defensively, I worry about them. And like Mark said, their goaltending is suspect. Campbell is a hit and miss kind of guy. He's very streaky. He looks like George Vezina sometimes. And other times he looks like a third line goaltender or a third string goaltender. He's just not consistent. And that was the problem with Toronto, is he just didn't have that consistency. And, he's a great guy. He's a great locker room guy, but you need him on the ice too. And I just don't think the Oilers are going to struggle They may get past the first round, but I think they're going to struggle after that.
All right, I got about. You guys have been gracious with your time. About 10 more minutes here, if you guys can stick with me here.
I don't know
Just
if I have to.
run through a couple more here that really piqued my interest. This one's a big one in my opinion. We had the LA Kings make a deal with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Longtime two-time Stanley Cup champ John Quick, who's gotten, long in the tooth perhaps, but he's still just an integral part of that franchise, got dealt to the Columbus Blue Jackets along with a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 third-round pick. Coming back to the Kings is Jonas Korpisalo, who's really one of those underrated goaltenders if he can stay healthy. I think he's a very good goaltender. And they also got Vladislav Gavrikov, who was rumored to go to Boston before the Caps traded Orlov. This was an interesting deal because then John Quick was really unhappy. Quick ends up on the Vegas Golden Knights. Were the Kings in the wrong, do you think, with this? They just got Dustin Brown retirement jersey. He's even got a statue.
Tell you what, here's a guy who is going to have his number retired in Los Angeles. He won this team 2 Stanley Cups like he did. It wasn't that he helped. He was the goaltender during those 2 cup runs. And thanks for your service, James. We're going to trade you to one of the worst teams in the league. And we're going to get some, goaltender that hasn't, really done all that. And, thanks for coming. Nice for you to show up. Out you go. I mean, come on. That is the disgrace by the LA Kings to treat this guy like this. And thank goodness that Columbus realized that, he's not going to be happy there. So they traded him to Vegas. I hope Vegas plays LA in the playoffs and James Quick stands on his head and beats the LA Kings. Because, I mean, you've seen the press conference with Doughty and Kopitar and
I did not. What happened?
You could tell they are pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
And destroyed that they could just treat them like that. I mean, it's one thing when you say, James, we've got a couple of goaltenders in our system. We're going to trade you to a contender to see if you can win another cup. But to trade them to Columbus, I mean, that's like a kick in the face for a guy that won them 2 Stanley Cups. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. So that's what I think about that trade.
Mark?
Well, I'm talking about Korpisalo here. He's with Phoenix Copley, which we know pretty much, what he's all about. So, I don't know. I knew Quick wasn't going to end up going, staying with Columbus anyway.
Oh man, I heard they were in Winnipeg that night he got traded, and they won. That was Kopitar had 4 goals in that game, and they had to ride the plane back to LA, knowing he got traded to Columbus. I can only imagine he was on the phone with his agent, or he's like, I ain't going there, But all's well though. It's gonna be weird. He goes to Vegas, and sign me up for this first round. Seattle Kraken will have a lot to say about this one as far as a first round match, but I would like to see this in the first round. What about you?
Let's do
Vegas, LA? Yeah, I'd love to see it.
I'm more of an LA King sider because I can't stand Vegas, but once Vegas
like either, so
Vegas doesn't look as bad here. And you got, Logan Thompson is their starter, the rookie, but he's been banged up. So is he back yet?
Not yet, no.
John Quick, though, definitely still capable of playing in net, and we'll see how this one goes as far as we're going to get you guys back on to talk playoffs at some point. I'm really intrigued to see if that one goes. Let's talk about one more big one here. We got a few more minutes. We finally saw Jake Jacob Chikrin, finally. God, this was like almost like 3 years in the making, wasn't it? Big left-handed defenseman from the Arizona Coyotes goes to the Ottawa Senators, where his family's from. Is that where he grew up, I guess?
Yes.
Arizona gets the 2023 first-round pick, a 2024 second-round pick, and a 2026 second-round pick. There's a bunch of small print here as well. I guess it's like top 10 protected. If a condition is met, the pick becomes a 2025 first rounder. I'm not even sure what I just read there, but Jake Chikrin finally gets traded. Is this the spot he belongs, you think, Stork?
Well, I'm kind of surprised that Ottawa got him. I mean, they've sat this guy out for what, like a month now? Now, there's one thing I'd like to address the NHL about is this sitting players out for trade-related purposes. I mean, I understand that you want to protect your asset, especially when you're getting ready to deal them. But they've sat this guy out how many games?
Yeah.
He practically has to go back to training camp now.
I think it was three or 4 weeks, wasn't it?
Or something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Mark,
That's something that the NHL has to address.
Yeah.
Because,
and for your fantasy owners, Mark, do you have them?
No.
I have me sitting in my IR. At least ESPN said give him an IR while he's sitting out. So I put him in my I put him on my IR. But you know,
bet me. Your fantasy owners matter,
just,
man.
You know, it's ridiculous. I see him sitting out for 1 or 2 games. I get that before you get ready to trade him. But to sit him out for 3 or 4 weeks, I mean, that's not right. I'm sorry. You know, it's just not right.
Yeah, Ottawa looks kind of rejuvenated. I know the GM, Pierre Dorian, kind of was telling Claude Giroux, I kind of owe you one, I guess. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to make the lofts, but they're playing pretty good hockey. They beat the Rangers last night with Patrick Kane. So it'll be interesting to see how the Senators do here on the final leg before the playoffs. Is there any other deals you guys would like to talk about with a few more minutes here? Anybody stand out? I really like the Tyler Bertuzzi to Boston. Red Wings ended up getting a first-round pick in 2024 and a fourth-round pick in 2025. So and that's top 10 protected in 2024. Detroit retains 50%. I know. I know.
Yeah, the Bruins really needed Bertuzzi. They were a little. They're a little weak in the grit and toughness part. Yeah, Bertuzzi's going to put them over the top.
They lost.
I'm scared of the Boston Bruins. I hate the Boston Bruins. So.
This one intrigues me because I picked up Bertuzzi not too long ago. He's been hurt pretty much all year, and he hasn't really gotten it going. But he's never played playoff hockey, Mark. I think this guy has it all as far as skill set, but he can get in there and bang and fight if he wants to. Marchand's not going to have to do anything, Stork, with Hathaway and now Bertuzzi in the lineup to help him, and they've already got sandpaper. Boston is just embarrassment of riches right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping somebody, their first round opponent, they give them a good run for their money and wear them down a little bit. Because, whoever comes out of the Toronto-Tampa Bay series probably will have to face the Boston Bruins. Yeah. So I'm hoping their first round opponents wear them down good.
Well, we didn't really have an hour. You can't really cover all the picks or trades here. There was nothing really big time here on the last day like we talked about, but there was some important players. But we got a couple final minutes here. Overall, if you had to pick a team who did the best and pick a team that did the worst, and you can even say your Leafs, Stork. I'll start off with me. I'm sorry, you're going to hate this. I really like the Boston Bruins, man. I really like what they did. Orlov, I was always a big Hathaway fan, and then I just mentioned the Bertuzzi trade. Their goaltending's on fire, and good luck beating this team. I guess I'm a little biased. I don't like the Rangers either, but I just feel like those guys seem a little overrated to me. But I mean, high offensive power, juggernaut, good goaltending, Shesterkin. I don't see them as big of a good a banging team surviving a whole playoff stretch like the Boston Bruins. So I'm giving my top team Boston Bruins for this trade deadline stretch. I don't have a worse team right now off the top of the head, so I'll move on to Stork. What are you saying?
Well, I mean, obviously Boston's the team to beat, especially what they did during the trade deadline. But I mean, I'm gonna sound biased, but if you look at all the trades that were made in the last, let's say, month, you got to give that to Toronto as far as what they brought in and what they've lost in the process. Yeah, they've lost some picks and stuff, but they're to go in now. I mean, they're not trying to say they've got a deep, rich prospect pool, so they don't need to clam on the picks. So they're all in. And as far as who did better during this trade process, I think the Leafs really added a ton. And but still, Boston is Boston. They're the team to beat, regardless what the Leafs did.
Mark, who do you think did the best here?
Well,
Trade
without
deadline.
stating the obvious, I think Minnesota probably did a pretty good job of, they picked up Goligoski. They had Sundqvist as well. Of course, our boy Marcus Johansson. Like I say, they got pretty good goaltending with Fleury, but leading the way with Gus. Was it Gustavo?
Gustafsson.
Yeah.
Gustavo.
Yeah. Like I say, without talking about the Bruins, I mean, who almost said the biggest loser is? That's easy. I have no idea what the Coyotes are doing.
Yeah. Well, they're stockpiling everybody's contracts, graveyard out there in the desert.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being an Arizona Coyote fan getting all these players and paying half their salary?
When you mentioned Brian,
they don't even have a stadium. They don't even have a stadium, and they've got all these contracts that they're holding. I would hate to be if they're looking to find fans in Arizona, this is not the way to do it.
Yeah. When you mentioned Brian Little, I had forgotten all about that guy. Unbelievable. Did they still have that guy's contract? Brian
Little. Oh, my God. When Mark said that, I went, oh, shit, I forgot about him.
They got 4 years of Shea Weber at 7.82.
Crazy.
Unreal.
It's just unbelievable what's going on there. I don't know who owns the Arizona Coyotes, but somebody needs to be fired. It's probably the owner.
One more team, I guess I had mentioned. I guess I would grade these guys not very high either. What are your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks? I thought they would get rid of Brock Besser. I guess that didn't happen. They ended up getting Philip Hronek from the Red Wings, and they gave up a first-round pick for this guy. How many picks? Do they have a lot of picks or something? They gave a 2023 first-rounder and a 2023 second-round pick for a right-handed defenseman. He's pretty solid, but was he really worth it that much?
He's a good hockey player, Jimmy. I mean, he's got some offense. He's very consistent. He's a well-balanced player. I think the Canucks will do well with him if they're going to keep him. I don't know what their plans are with him, but he's a good hockey player. He's only 25 years old, and he's got a lot of upside. And I'm surprised that Detroit let him go. I don't. Here's my question: what are the Red Wings doing? I don't understand what's going on in Detroit either. Like, is Stevie
That's
Y?
the
What's going on with
they
Stevie
were-
Y?
Weiser playing.
They were on the trail of JVR right there at the tail end of the day. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
When this season started, and I know you were too, Jimmy. You were talking big about the Red Wings, that this could be the year that they get back into the playoffs again and become a team to watch. And what they're doing now, I don't understand, because they had the talent in Detroit, and I understand there's a couple of guys there like Moritz Cedar has had a bit of an off year, but he's just a kid. And they had a good team. When you look at their lineup at the start of this year, you think, boy, this team's you're gonna have to watch these guys. They just haven't showed up, and now they're just breaking them all apart. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on in Detroit.
Well, they just think Dylan Larkin 8x8, and he's their captain. Seems like, like you said, they're one of these bubble teams, and they just
Did you see who
traded
they signed today?
Veronic. What was that, Mark?
Did you see who they signed? I said, did you see who they signed today?
I haven't seen everything.
Chiasson.
Alex Chiasson, Stanley Cup champion. Washington Capitals. Yeah, there's still a lot I haven't caught up on, but it was definitely an interesting trade deadline couple of weeks, gents.
Yeah, not day.
Month, I don't even know, but Patty Kane, probably the biggest name, arguably. The Penguins got Michael Granlund for a 2024 second-round pick from the Preds. So it'll be interesting to see what the Penguins do. And, the playoffs are in sight. The trade deadline is in the rear. And I really appreciate you gentlemen coming on here on the Storksdesk and my new podcast, The Small Package. This is kind of like a simulcast. Mark Wood, a second-time guest on the podcast, but a first-time guest here on the Storksdesk. Mark, anything to plug here on the show? He doesn't have anything.
Nothing.
Guys. Go visit a mattress firm.
Mattress firm.
Mattress firm? Mm-hmm. They're in Prince George?
No, I mean,
wait, I'm not talking BC.
King George, Virginia.
King George.
Prince George.
Dude, I've been living out here
George.
too long. Prince George is in BC. Storky, what's going on in your neck of the woods, man? Anything to talk about as we go off the air?
No, I mean, we'll have to do another show early this week coming up on Stork's desk. Talk a little bit about the league. We're going to be heading into our final week, so lots of playoff implication games. So, I think it's a good time to do a show Monday or Tuesday if we can.
Sounds good, boys. Good luck in your fantasy matchups. I know me and Mark are fighting for our playoff lives in our fantasy league, and it's a real great time to be a hockey fan, even if me and Mark's Capitals are probably on their way out of the lofts. I'm still excited about the playoffs, and it was really fun talking to you gents.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you early next week, Stork. And Mark, I'll talk some Caps hockey with you tomorrow as the Caps take on the Sharks out in Silicon Valley. Good night, guys. This is Jimmy Milstead with a Small Package, episode 10, and on Kevin Stork's desk on our YouTube show, episode 19. It was the NHL Trade Deadline Roundtable. Badger Bob always said it was a great day for hockey. Today was a great day for hockey. Good night, gents, and talk to you next time.
Good weekend, boys.
Yep. Peace out.